Hello and many thanks for joining us. I'm Felicity Ezewuike here with the stories making headlines beyond the continent. Let's begin in the North America, where a small plane crashed into a mobile home parked in the southeastern U.S. state of Florida, killing several people. Scott Ehlers, the fire chief for the coastal town of Clearwater, told a press conference that the accident occurred at 7 p.m. shortly after a nearby airport received an alert about a plane in trouble. Firefighters extinguished the fires at the Bayside Waters mobile home park caused by the crashed aircraft. According to the fire chief, at least 3 houses were damaged by fire. A fourth was directly hit by the plane. He added that residents of the other houses were unharmed. Local media reported that the Federal Aviation Administration revealed that a pilot of the plane had reported an engine failure before the accident. Head of Canadian diplomacy, Milani Jolie, at a press conference with her Ukrainian counterpart, Dmytro Kuleba, announced the creation of an international coalition for the return of Ukrainian children. Kyiv estimates that 20,000 Ukrainian children have been forcefully deported to Russia. In South America, supporters of former President Evo Morales protested his disqualification from the 2025 elections by continuing blockades nationwide. Legislators in La Paz are staging a hunger strike in solidarity with supporters of the former president. The protesters are demanding the resignation of the judges who took that decision. Parliamentarians from all political forces in Bolivia opened dialogue on January 29 to try to reach a consensus on a bill that would pave the way for new judicial elections, while in the streets there is an atmosphere of social confrontation.
Por hoy nuestro hermano Evo Morales Jaima siente esa traición por un presidente electo. Y lo único que están haciendo con esto es quererlo desgastar a nuestro comandante Evo Morales.
Nosotros estamos exigiendo que haya consenso y que se apruebe la ley corta para elecciones judiciales. Seguramente las horas más tarde ya estarán los resultados. Y el día de mañana también nosotros estaremos presentes. En el caso de no aprobarse la ley corta, nosotros nos obligamos a tomar las decisiones y cercar la Asamblea Legislativa Plurinacional. La unidad, que busque la tranquilidad de la población boliviana, pues que no haga confrontar entre campesinos y tampoco...
Still in South America, Argentine police fired rubber bullets and used water cannons to disperse protesters gathered outside Congress as lawmakers debated the new president's sweeping economic, social and political reform package. Opposition legislators stormed out of the building at one point to observe and denounce the police action, but later went back inside to take their seats, and the debate resumed until past midnight. The drama unfolded on the second day of what is expected to be a marathon debate on libertarian and self-described anarcho-capitalist President Javier Milei's reforms plans. To further discuss this, I'm joined by Bolu Michael-Biyi, foreign policy analyst. Good to have you on the news. Thanks for giving us your time. What is the root cause, in your view, of this conflict between the government and opposition in Argentina?
Yeah, radical times, takes radical measures. So it's not surprising that the president is trying to make sweeping reforms because of the economic situation in the country. However, the opposition feel it's far-reaching because it touches on aspects of private life of Argentine citizens, as well as empowering the executive the more, which they're not comfortable with. They feel that in a situation as they're in right now, the executive does not have to, shouldn't accord themselves more power. And this is some of the issues that the opposition have contention with.
Do you think the government's actions were justified, or were they excessive and unwarranted?
I wouldn't say it's unwarranted. I'll say might be some aspects might be excessive, and it's good that they are trying to work together with the opposition, because I'm aware that some aspects of the reforms have been modified or at least struck out in the way. So some aspects seem to be appropriate, but the different societies with different contexts. To some, a reform might be in a country, to one country, a reform might be far-reaching, to another it might not be sufficient. So based on the condition that Argentina is right now, it's only the opposition or the government or the people that can really say if it's extreme or unwarranted.
Is it possible for the government and the opposition to find a way to work together, or are they too far apart?
Well, they're currently working together because some aspects of the reforms have been modified, which indicates that they are working together. They may not have something, that will satisfy everybody, but diplomacy is about not getting what you want and at the same time not getting what you don't want. So they're currently working together. If they continue in this path, I believe they'll be able to reach a consensus on various aspects of the reforms.
Is it possible for Argentina to become a prosperous, successful nation without implementing radical reforms, or are radical reforms the only way to get the country on the right track?
There are several ways. The challenge is about solving the issues from the root. The root cause of these challenges for most countries is corruption. So it's not that countries cannot raise revenue. It doesn't mean it's not like they cannot truly run a clean government, but corruption is what has led to the issues. And we see that in common with many South American and African countries. So it's about tackling corruption. That's what is hindering greatness. There are countries that are not even as rich as Argentina, but they're prosperous and they have a smooth running government, and the people in the country are living well. So let them tackle corruption. Sweeping reforms might be needed on various aspects, but I think it's important that they tackle issues from the root, which is tackling corruption.
Given the current state of the economy, do you think that the president's reforms could trigger a financial crisis or even economic collapse?
Based on precedents, I feel that it has potential of causing economic hardship, because if we look at other countries that have accepted maybe World Bank or IMF recommendations, for example, Nigeria, the structural adjustment program, we're still paying for it today. So people in Argentina should have legitimate fears that when they adopt these reforms, it might lead to economic collapse, because he would pays the piper, dictates the tune, and it's touching on private life. There's so many conditions that will be uncomfortable. So it has a potential, if not managed well, to cause some form of social and economic crisis.
All right, Bolu, thank you very much for speaking with us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Earlier, we brought you the story that the head of the Canadian diplomacy, Milani Jolie, at a press conference with her Ukrainian counterpart, announced the creation of an international coalition for the return of Ukrainian children. Kyiv estimates that 20,000 Ukrainian children have been forcefully deported to Russia.
Au cœur de ces engagements se trouve notre soutien à la coopération et à l'interopérabilité entre l'Ukraine et l'OTAN. Soyons clairs, l'avenir de l'Ukraine est au sein de l'OTAN. Dans la journée, le Canada et l'Ukraine lanceront une nouvelle coalition internationale pour le retour des enfants ukrainiens, réunissant des pays du monde entier pour défendre la cause de ces enfants. Donc, ce qu'on va faire avec cette coalition, c'est qu'on va travailler avec le gouvernement de l'Ukraine pour développer un cas consulaire pour chacun des enfants qui ont été enlevés par la Russie. Et le Canada va utiliser son réseau diplomatique pour être en mesure de présenter et de défendre ces cas d'enfants auprès de toutes nos différentes ambassades.
Чекаємо на ратифікацію угоди про доповнень до угоди про вільну торгівлю між Україною та Канадою. Працюємо над питанням використання заморожених активів Російської Федерації в інтересах відновлення України, тому що для всіх очевидно, що Росія має заплатити за свою агресію, і тут якраз рішення Групи 7 буде фундаментальним. Механізм, який запропонувала Канада для опрацювання, для вирішення цієї проблеми, Він є дієвим, і ми сподіваємося, що країни активно будуть брати участь у зусиллях з повернення наших дітей. Продовжуємо працювати і над отриманням систем ППО, і іншої зброї, якою нам може допомогти Канада.
According to UK police, a man died on Friday after reports that he fell from London's Tate Modern Gallery, with the death being treated as unexpected but not thought to be suspicious. The incident late on Friday morning comes nearly 5 years after a British teenager threw a 6-year-old French boy from a 10th floor balcony at the Landmark Museum, causing life-changing injuries. It is unclear where exactly the man who died on Friday had fallen from. London's Metropolitan Police said officers were called to reports of a man falling from the Tate Modern. The Tate Modern, which opened in 2000, is a striking former power station building in the south bank of the River Thames. Is one of Britain's leading attractions. Around 3.6 million people visited it from January to September last year, according to the latest statistics from Britain's Museum Association. Serbian President Aleksandar Vučić has pledged to continue sending payments to Kosovo's Serbs following the enactment of a ban against the dinar currency this week. Vučić made the promise during his latest televised speech against the alleged persecution of Kosovo's Serb minority. The roughly 120,000-strong Serb community has clung to the dinar since a brutal late 1990s war between Serbia and ethnic Albanian insurgents saw Serbian troops and government personnel withdraw from Kosovo. Many Serbs in Kosovo work for Serbian institutions where their salaries, pensions, and other financial transactions rely on the dinar rather than the euro, which is Kosovo's official currency. Kosovo adopted the euro as its currency in 2002, despite not being a member of the Eurozone or the European Union.
U ponedjeljak nastavljamo sa dostavljanjem novca preko ovlašćenog i licenciranog prevoznika, dakle u onim oklopnim kolima i u svemu, to je britanska kompanija Henderson, preko njih, a u skladu sa zakonima i u skladu sa onim što se činilo.
Fighting in Gaza raged on Friday, with scores reported killed overnight after mediator Qatar said Hamas had given its initial support to a hostage prisoner exchange deal that would pause its war with Israel. The health ministry in the Hamas-run territory said 112 people had been killed over the previous 24 hours, while the Hamas press office reported Israeli air and artillery bombardment around Khan Yunis, southern Gaza's main city and the focus of recent fighting. Gaza City resident Abir al-Madun said leaflets calling on civilians to leave had again been dropped by Israeli aircraft over the Al-Shifa hospital compound where she has sought refuge.
ايش المدرسه عملته من جرم الا المدرسه بتعلم اولادنا يعني بناتنا ايش عملته من جرم ايش عملته من جرم هذه هي مناطق الامنه يعني هل المدرسه هذه بتقاوم هل المدرسه هذه كل الدول الاوروبيه ودول وامريكا كلها وفرنسا واقفين معاها احنا بدنا واحد من دول العالم بس واحد عربي يستنكر اللي بيصير فينا يستنكر بدناش يوقف معانا يستنكر اللي بيصير فينا.
The Special Operations Forces of South Korea and the United States conduct the first joint special operations training of the year at the Rodrigues Training Center for 10 days from January 22nd to February 2nd. The training exercise was designed to master the joint operation procedures of the South Korea-US Special Operations Forces, improve interoperability and Special Forces members' individual combat skills. According to the South Korean Army, the exercise took place at the Rodrigues live fire complex 51 kilometers northeast of Seoul, involving troops from the North Star Battalion under the Army Special Welfare Command and the U.S. 1st Special Forces Group.
훈련은 한미 특전 대원들이 한 팀이 되어 실질적인 연합 특수작전 역량을 강화하는 계기가 되었습니다. 앞으로도 특전사다운 강한 훈련을 통해 적을 압도하는 능력과 태세를 갖추겠습니다.
이번 훈련을 통해 한미 양국 특수전 부대의 다양한 무기와 전투 수행 방법을 비교하고 체험할 수 있었습니다. 이런 경험을 바탕으로 언제 어떤 상황에서도 임무를 완수하는 강한 특전 대원이 되겠습니다.
Former Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Razak's 12-year jail sentence for corruption has been halved by the country's Pardons Board. Najib was jailed in 2022 over the embezzlement of Malaysia's state-owned wealth fund, One Malaysia Development Berhad. The board also reduced the fine imposed on him to 50 million ringgit from the original 210 million ringgit. Najib must pay this in full to secure his release in August 2028. If he fails to pay, his sentence will be extended for another year until 2029. He was convicted in 2020 after spending 2 years appealing his conviction before the courts. The jailing of such a senior figure in Asian politics at that time caused a major ripple across Southeast Asia. It was held up as a rare example of accountability in a region where power is so often unaccountable. A bit of sports now. Lewis Hamilton will leave Mercedes at the end of the 2024 season and join Formula One rivals Ferrari on a multi-year deal in 2025. The 39-year-old only signed a new 2-year deal with Mercedes last summer. It is understood his contract contained a break clause after 1 year, which the Briton has chosen to activate. Hamilton said he was so proud of the success he had achieved in 11 years with Mercedes. Fans in Rome expressed shock, but agreed it was a pleasant surprise.
Per me è una sorpresa, non mi aspettavo, l'avrà già 40 anni, quindi non mi aspettavo che venisse, però una bella sorpresa, sì. 7 volte campione, cioè, sì. Secondo me è un colpo enorme che c'è tutto per far crescere anche la scuderia. Cioè uno con tanta esperienza, secondo me, può far crescere tantissimo anche la Ferrari.
La trovo come una semplice trovata di marketing e sarò curioso però di vedere lo scontro che avverrà tra Charles Leclerc e Hamilton una volta appunto che Hamilton approderà in Ferrari. Forse perché hanno in mente di progettare una macchina che vada forte dal 2025 e quindi credono che con 2 piloti di razza come Hamilton e Leclerc possano fare la differenza nel campionato.
I think it's a bit strange considering Hamilton's been with the same team for so long. And also the recent performance of Ferrari is a little bit up and down. And I think everybody knows that Hamilton's looking for his last championship before he retires from Formula One. So, I don't know, strange. I think he obviously sees the potential in Ferrari, so good luck to him.
And that is all at this hour. Do follow us on social media. That's at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and on YouTube. Many thanks for watching.